I just got 4 new jumping spiders. Learn all about them in this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to Spooderpods. I am David and today I am introducing you to 4 new jumping spiders. We got 4 new jumping spiders from jumpingspiders.co.uk and we are keen to introduce them to you. My partner Sophie picked one out, so it's partly her order as well. And I thought rather than just doing separate introduction videos and doing an unboxing video, I would just do one big introduction video with lots of footage so you can see how we set up their enclosures and what we named them and what their personalities are like. Remember, if you like jumping spider or invert content, do subscribe, do watch my other videos. I have loads of jumping spider content, including guides and tips and tricks on how to look after yours. But in the meantime, let's introduce you to our new spoods. Now, the first spood I want to introduce you to, I have named Shroom, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. And she is an unknown Phidippus regius female. She's unknown because she was an escapee from the original breeder, and they found her on the ceiling of all places, and so they couldn't identify what region or locality she's from. Now, she just looks like any old Phidippus regius to me, but I just love them all anyway, so the region doesn't always matter to me that much. But so far, she has settled in very well. She is very curious. The very first thing she did, and why I named her Shroom, is climb up on top of her mushroom hide and start cleaning her fangs. It was very adorable, and she spent a long time there. She's also very reactive. If you walk past, her eyes are instantly on you, whereas some of the other spoods can't really be bothered, honestly. With regards to enclosure, I went for one of my Entoscapes enclosures, one of the older ones, which has become vacant, if you know what I mean. And I tried to set it up as a sort of fantasy foresty theme, like I love to do. I went for all natural substrate in there because it helps maintain humidity and it's better for them, for their health. Put a lovely sign in there, put the big Shroom in there. And the other thing I did is I had this sort of like centerpiece I bought online, which I was going to use for jumping spider photography outside of their enclosures, but it never got used, so I thought rather than it just sitting there, I'll pop it in Shroom's enclosure and she can enjoy climbing on it. Although right now, looking at her, most of the time she likes sitting on her shelves or she likes sitting on top of her Shroom. Now next up we have our Bahamas Phidippus regius, which was picked out by my partner Sophie, and she decided to name him Noodle. Now Noodle is a bit more shy, and basically when he arrived he explored a little bit, webbed up a corner near the light, and has been sat in there since. So it's quite possible he's getting near a molt or he's in pre-molt, but he is a very handsome little fellow. He's got very pale colourings and he's a lot whiter than most of the other spoods we've had. A lot of the other males we've had have been more darker with obviously white patterning, but this guy's very white, which may change into his final molt. Again, a little bit more shy, but still a very interesting spood, and obviously hopefully going to come out of his shell once he molts. Otherwise, Sophie set up his enclosure. She basically themed it around blue stuff. We had loads of blue scenery left over, so she did that. We have like a sort of blue cat hide in there, some shells, a little big hide, and this spood tube. We went for the all natural substrate again, and obviously some natural twigs and logs in there, because the more I keep these little guys, the more I feel at least a little bit of natural stuff is good for them. If it's too synthetic and too fake, you know what I mean by fake, you know, too synthetic with too much stuff that isn't natural, I don't think it benefits them. I think if you have a middle ground, it tends to be better or going all natural. But again, so far, Noodle settled in very well and is quite happy in his enclosure. Now, my next introduction is a bit of a special one, because this is a Phidippus variant I haven't kept before, and it's a Phidippus identatus, and it's all commonly known as Maya. And because of that, I decided to name, I think it's a female because we weren't sure, Maya. Now this species is very interesting because while they have very similar requirements to the Phidippus regius in terms of looking after them, which is great because it's nice and easy, they have very different colorations. They're a lot darker, but they have kind of iridescent patches on them. Their chelicerae are also like almost yellowy browny, so they stand out a bit more, and little pedipalps in front of them. I haven't actually got some good pictures of the chelicerae yet, but you can see the pedipalps wiggling around in some of the footage. And Maya's been very curious as well. They've been all over their enclosure. They are very reactive if they see you, and they're very interested. They haven't had their first meal yet, but they have webbed up. And that's something I'm pleased about all of our new spoods. They seem to have all webbed and they've made themselves little hammocks and settled, which is really important, because that first day, you always get really nervous thinking, oh my goodness, are they going to settle? Are they going to be okay? But luckily, so far, so good with these guys. With Enclosure, I set them up in a tarantula cat back crazy coughing crib. Go Batty, that's what it's called. And I got this from Arachnospace, and I really love this enclosure. It's a little bit less wide, but it still has the same height that you need for a jumping spider. And because the Maya is supposed to be ever so slightly smaller than the Regis, I thought it'd be okay in this, and so far so good. It's all happy. Now for Maya's enclosure, I went to go with the Go Batty theme. I went with a very spooky theme. So we have a haunted castle in there. We have a sort of like dilapidated tree. We have darker substrate. I mixed in some darker substrate on there. Glance over and look now. Sort of a webbed shelf, like pumpkins and skulls on the bottom. It's all very spookily themed, because to me, Maya does seem like a spooky spood, and I felt they deserved a spooky enclosure. With regards to their castle, they like sitting on top of it, but they haven't been in the actual hide. They decided to web up in the top corner, which again is pretty common for them. But I'm quite excited to keep this species, because I want to see whether they go into another molt, what they're going to look like, and try and catch some footage of that lovely iridescence. Now, last but not least is a Audax, another Audax, and this one's definitely a male, as you can see from the patterning. And this little fella, we decided to let my patron name. Now, I've got a couple of channel members, but I only have one patron. Thank you, Gina, for supporting this channel so early in its kind of like, I don't know, development, I guess. You know, this channel hasn't been going around for too long, so it's great to have support already. And I asked Gina if she can name this little spoon, and she decided to name him Levi. Now, I think it's a great name. Sophie immediately approved of it, so we've decided to name him Levi. And when I do get more patrons, I'll have polls and more bits going on there. But for now, I'm just talking to Gina, and it's always great because she's an awesome animal lover. So hi, Gina. Anyway, let's go back to what we're talking about now. Levi settled in well again. He decided to web up in a spood tube, which I got from the bearded shrimp. He is very happy in it, and I put him in another Gone Batty enclosure because I bought one. I thought I might as well get another because I really like the bats theme, and it's kind of cool looking, and it fits on my shelf a bit more neatly. So he's gone into his spood tube and he's webbed up in there. The only time he's come out of it is when I actually put my hand in there to adjust some scenery. I don't know if he was threatened by my hand, or he actually associates hands with food and he was like, wow, or just curious. When I put it in there, he came straight out. I was like, oh no, I wasn't expecting it, so I was a bit flustered by it. And he just looked at me, and then when I removed my hand, he just went back into his tube. So yeah, otherwise he just sits in there at the moment. We're kind of waiting for some of our green bottle flies to hatch so we can do a feeding round with them, but they're all very plump at the moment. With regards to his enclosure, and this one I went for something a bit different because I wanted to go like full bioactive basically. So what I did is I had a drainage layer set up, put up extra depth of substrate, and then I put an ivy plant in there. It's a lovely purple, I think they call it a dew ivy or something. I'll try and put it in the description. It wasn't very expensive, and it's supposed to be very good for beginner friendly stuff. It's got lovely purple and green flowers. It's going to grow, so it'll give him lots of height and hiding places, and it's going to fill up that enclosure. I put obviously the usual hides and stuff in there, but I want to start adding living plants to my enclosures where possible. Not only do they look pretty, if I've got this right, which I think I do because I followed some good instructions here, and from my previous experience with plants in general, it would just be lovely to have this sort of more bioactivity in my enclosures and for the spoons to enjoy. When he first came in, he actually just went straight under the plant and hid under there and just peeked out at us. But again, now he's all over the place. And the idea of bioactivity is appealing to me more and more, so it's something I'm going to look into. And it looks very pretty, as you can probably see from the photos. So I'm just going to pan through the shelf now so you can see all the enclosures next to each other. I think it makes a really nice display shelf. I've had to crowd a couple of the others to set it up like this. They may have to move back down, but they all look really cool and they've all settled in very well. We did have some minor mishaps when we were trying to get them into the enclosures. They all went in fairly easily, but some of them were so like fast we had to be like really on the ball with a catch cup just in case. And it was interesting. I'm glad I didn't film it and focused on doing it because we might have had an escapee if I hadn't. But again, they've all settled in exceptionally well, and I'm very pleased with how their enclosures have come out, and also very pleased with them themselves. They're all beautiful spoods, and I'm hoping to get loads of footage for you guys to share on the channel, and also just for my general educational videos with them featured. Obviously for the individual species I may do guides, but when you're looking at bolds and other Regis variants, they tend to have the same requirements. So I know people have asked for other videos on this, but I'm not sure if it's really necessary to make. When you go to Hillis species, they are a bit different. whether the ridges they're okay. And also I know you guys have asked for where I get my spider stuff and all our supplies here in the UK. I will be doing a video on that coming up where I'll talk about all the places I've mentioned in this video. I'll talk about other places I buy from and just give you what I think are reliable places. These will be just my opinion, but obviously if I've had good experiences, hopefully you will too. Now, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. If you want to give me some hopefully nice feedback on my setup, also love to hear from you. But in the meantime, take care and see you later.